into the No Layups TV show. I'm Raheel and David Nunez to my left, 1560 the game. I want to thank all you Clutch fans users for watching No Layups Episode 1, and we're going to be doing this all the time, so let's get into it, David. 2 weeks into the season, and the Rockets are not looking like we thought they'd be looking like.
Well, I'm not surprised by their 4-3 record, Raheel, but what does surprise me, some of the things that they're not doing, rebounding the ball. They're getting out-rebounded. Against the Lakers, they got out-rebounded 50-36. That's 14 rebounds that they lost, and that's huge. Against the Blazers, they got out-rebounded by 12. Against the Celtics, just 5, but those are the 3 losses of the year. So this is a team that the physicality that they have, they're being out-muscled. Even Paul Gasol, who was known as a soft player with the Lakers, was out-muscling people. I was happy with the way Carl Landry reacted, and he was being pretty physical. But the Rockets are shooting the ball poor. They're being out-physicaled, and they're just not in sync.
Yeah, you know, that's one of the things Coach Adelman talks about. He's okay with putting in a smaller lineup. He's okay that Yao's sitting out, and you got Scola, Landry in there and helping out Chuck Hayes, one of the other guys. He's okay with that, but at sometimes when you run into a tall team like the Lakers or an aggressive team like Portland. I mean, Portland by no means is a tall team, but they are an aggressive young team. You will have some problems and you will face some tough times, so you got to find some height right away, and that's not easy to do.
Let's face it, this team is going to go as far as the big 3 take them, and Yao and Tracy and Ron Artest have both been struggling. And the 3-team losses, the team overall shooting 37%, 47%, and 37%, and the Lakers in that loss, they shot 53%. So you see the disparity right there where the Rockets just aren't shooting the ball well. Now, overall over the season, if you were to look at their numbers, 44% on the year, and I asked you, what do you think they shot last year? It was also 44%.
Wow, and you know, it's so early into the season to start looking at field goal percentage, but that's a trend that once you start becoming a player that's shooting near between 40 to 60%, that kind of sticks up, and that's what you're going to be shooting for the rest of the season. But in team-wise, you know, there's streaks. You know, beginning of the season last year, they weren't a great shooting team. They hit 22 games in a row, and during that span, they were playing some good basketball, so that helps out a little bit. But so far, you don't want to get that identity that you're a horrible shooting team.
No, and again, with that, in the beginning of the season, they weren't good until January last year.
Yeah.
There was a loss in Philadelphia that kind of just was the end-all for the Rockets. A couple other things on those points. As you know, the Rockets were outscored against the Lakers 39-17. But the biggest problem with the Rockets is they're actually scoring 10 points less a game than they were last year, actually around 8.5 points. And that's the problem. So if you're still scoring 44%, you're not going to – if you're scoring 8 less points. Now, the good thing is, though, they get Shane Battier back hopefully in a couple of weeks.
Yeah,
T-Mac has been – you know, before the Portland game, he had increased his scoring 3 straight games. Since that point, he's 1 of 16.
You know, Shane Battier, a lot of people say, oh, you know, we don't have Shane Battier right now. Once he comes back, the Rockets are going to be fine. But is Shane Battier really that guy that's going to spark the offense anyway? He's going to give you some threes. He's going to give you some buckets. But by no means is he going to start sparking up the offense and change the way this team is playing.
No, but what I think it'll bring is a little normalcy to the rotation. They'll get their guys back. Shane knows his spacing a lot better than – there's been a lot of times where Ron's in the post and there's a lot of spacing issues. I think Shane will help space it out, and they'll be different matchups. Now, the other problem, as we mentioned at the top of this, was the big 3. Yao's been struggling as well. 8 points against the Celtics, 13 against the Blazers, 16 against the Clips where he looked good, but 12 against the Lakers, 40% shooting overall, and Yao just doesn't look like Yao.
Yeah, and the Portland game, you brought that up. He only had 10 points up until he hit that pretty big, not a pretty big shot, a big shot, the fadeaway plus the and one in overtime. You know, you have that. It's only 10 points. Lakers, you saw he had problems all night long. A lot of people, you can say, look, the foul problems were, you know, the foul calls were not that great for the Rockets. Refs were giving the Lakers some calls and all that. But you go back, go on ESPN.com, look up the shot chart for that game, and look how many times the Rockets were in the paint. It is, you know, you can count how many times. You go to the Lakers side, you can't count how many times. You have to scroll over it because there's so many times they were in the paint. And that's, you know, that's one thing. Foul problems or foul calls are, Yao's not going to get him. We've seen that his whole career. He's a big guy. If you're going to call the foul every time, he's going to be on the free throw line every time. Is that a good excuse for the refs? Absolutely not. But that's just the fact of the matter for Yao Ming. You have to adjust to that, and he's just getting big bodied by everyone.
Now, Yao, who's a 90% free throw shooter against the Lakers, did go to the line 4 times, missed all 4 of those. Now, on Ron, I'm the Ron apologist. You know, I always find a way to defend Ron, but he has been struggling big time offensively. In the last 4 games, 28% shooting.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
28%
shooting. And he had 15 points against the Celtics, 9 against the Blazers, 23 against the Clips. Everybody plays well against the Clips.
Yeah.
And just 8 against the Lakers. But 28% shooting, that's not going to get it done.
Really? And Ron Artest, your big 3. Remember, Rockets fans, Yao, Tracy, Ron. Those three are going to take you to the title. They remind you a lot of KG, Ray Allen, and Paul Pierce. Not so much. That's a high-efficient team in Boston. The Rockets, not so much right now. Ron Artest, when you brought that fact up, it's funny how he's not being brought up because Rafer Alston's taking a lot of that blame. What is he shooting? I know we looked this up. Rafer's not that great either right now, and that's just kind of helping Ron stay under the radar.
The funny thing about Rafer, and I'll follow that up with some Aaron Brooks stats, but Rafer's shooting 35% from three-point line, but he's shooting 33% from the field goal percentage. So he is. You don't want both of those numbers to be similar, unless you're Yao Ming 45%.
Ron Artest is another guy whose field goal percentage is lower than his three-point percentage. That's incredible. You have to hit some layups. You have to hit your mid-range jumper, and you got to get aggressive. Ron was good at going to the hole in the first week of the season, and not so much now. Tracy, another guy. Yesterday, his only layup came when Kobe came from the weak side and threw his stuff out of there in a layup that was eventually looked at like a goaltending. It was a goaltending, but the refs didn't call it. You can't have that. You need to go to the hole a little bit more. The whole team does.
A couple things to be positive about. There's 5 Rockets scoring in double figures. And the guy who shoots out at me when I look at the list is Aaron Brooks, who's shooting 45% from the three-point line and also 45% from the field goal. So, I mean, Aaron Brooks is bringing a little different energy. Yeah. And also, think about this, guys. The Rockets last year were not a finished product until January. You got your big 3, all with different issues. Tracy had surgery in the offseason. Yao had his issues, and we had a new guy in Ron Artest. Plus, you got Shane Battier, who still hasn't played. Mm-hmm. So when you look at the core still really isn't what we're used to seeing. Give it time, like we said last year. Give them till January.
Yeah, but how long can we start saying give them time? You want to see some positive sign coming out from the Rockets, and the Lakers game was not a positive one. Some other things to look at. Look, the Lakers, that team has been together for a year now. You add Andrew Bynum. They know the offense. That most of the guys on that team have been on that team for 2 or 3 years, so they know that offense. They're clicking right now better than any team in the NBA. So the Rockets ran into a tough team. You still have some tough games coming up with the Suns, Spurs, and those are no easy matches. And the Hornets at home. So that's it. Let's say final thoughts about the Rockets before we end episode 2.
Well, I'm not as worried as you would think. It's because I believe the rotation will get back in order. Once Shane does get back, I think people will find their roles more defined. I think Ron Artest will continue to grow. And I think shooting percentages, they'll get better. I don't know if Rafer's going to be the be-all shooter, but I do believe that this team last year struggled through January. They were below 500, and they still won 55 games. Let's not forget about that if they get things on the right side and Yao Ming is able to be a presence in the post, forget about it. They'll be good in the playoffs.
Hey, I want to apologize to Aaron Brooks because when he first came out of college and into the NBA last year, I said his three-point shot is not going to translate to the NBA. We've seen a lot of college three-point shooters who win the three-point shootout during NCAA Final Four weekend, and it just does not translate. But, man, Aaron Brooks, his range has extended really well, and it looks really good. And you know what? I'm going to eat crow on this one. Aaron Brooks, you're doing a great job, and it's good to see some results from Aaron Brooks.
I have no idea what eat crow means. I've heard it, but it doesn't really make sense.
It just sounds really good. All right, we're done. We are out of here.
Norris for you.
A reminder, No Layups radio show Tuesday, 6 to 7 p.m., depending on when you watch us, all right?
And maybe Dave Hardesty will join us. We'll see. I think I can make that happen.
We're done. Keep watching. Thank you very much, and keep posting.
Do the Newsman's favorite thing.
We're done here.